Well, I've really enjoyed my beers from this brewery before, so let's try some more Bizarre Brewing. This time, the Flood, a London-style brown porter. Yep, that's brown and porter-like. So, Bizarre Brewing. I've had their television people. I can't remember the others, but I've enjoyed a couple of their beers. Not too many, just a handful. I've picked a few up at Spud's, and this one I picked up at from Pack Mule, not at Pack Mule, because they are not a location, they are a service. And like I said, it's a London-style brown porter, and it's only 3.8% ABV. Typically, darker beers, you're thinking higher ABV, stronger, more fortifying. But that doesn't necessarily mean that stronger for us, or that stronger by our standard, is what that beer originally was. Now, I'm not making any claim to know offhand what porters were when they were first invented back in London, but I would guess they were probably lower, 3, 4, maybe the really stiff ones were 5%, and I suppose those might have been called stouts. Stout porters, that is. So 3.8%, I would guess. I don't know for sure, but I'm gonna guess based on the things I remember from what I've studied, that this is probably actually a fairly classic porter ABV. And I'd imagine if you go to the UK today that you might even find those more commonly. But once again, I'm guessing entirely at that. America's race for high ABVs, is America's race for high ABVs. Not quite molasses, but definitely a brown sugar syrup. Roasty. Maybe some almond. Color-wise, definitely molasses, and it's quite thick. I'm wondering with the low ABV if there's not going to be quite a lot of unfermented malt sugars in here. It smells really good. It smells rich, which is surprising considering the 3.8% ABV statement. It'll be very interesting once it's time to taste this. But yeah, smoky, roasty, that kind of dark brown sugar syrup. It's not quite molasses, but it's almost caramelized in the pan kind of thing. You're starting to burn some of those sugars. Very, very nice. And then, yeah, this interesting kind of nutty counterpoint to it, or nuance to it. That means it's more than simple smoky sugar syrup. It smells really good. But then, my experience with Bizarre Brewing is they make good beers. Can I swirl that? Yes, I can swirl that. Wow, I was having a hard time commanding my hand to do the swirl movement. And even you can see the head is caramel. Yeah, well, let's see how it tastes. Oh, tobacco. Oh, that's nice. For those of you who don't know, I do enjoy my pipes. Not for very long. I've smoked cigars for a few years, very occasionally. A handful of times, a couple times a year at most. But pipes are a lot easier to dose. You can take one bowl or even half of a bowl of tobacco at a time. You don't have to smoke the whole stick's worth. Plus, pipe tobacco is far more forgiving, and you can actually age it, which appeals to me. You get a quantity, and then if it spends a year or 2 or 4 in a dark cupboard, that's just fine. Anyways, all that to say, there is some of a tobacco smoke aroma to this. Not a cigarette smoke, a tobacco smoke. Cigarettes, you're smelling a lot of fillers and junk and additives, things that are added to binders, fillers, etc. Whereas the tobacco that goes into your pipe, yes, it can be aromatized or flavored, but you can also get ones that are just tobacco. And that's really That's kind of an initial thing, that the smokiness of the beer has this earthy, leafy quality to it, like the best of the Shire's long bottom leaf. And surprisingly, little sweetness. How did they do that? Like, I am tasting maltiness, I'm tasting nuttiness, I'm tasting roasty, smoky, but very little sweetness, which makes me wonder, did they not boil the wort for very long? They wanted to extract the flavor from the grains, but not the sugars. Very interesting. This is unique for me. I don't know that I've had a porter this light and dry. Now it's not light on flavor, but it's quite light compared with, you know, the thick, often sweet American porters that you're more likely to find on store shelves. I mean, not that Black Butte, a really classic American porter, is sweet per se, but it's definitely thicker, more toothsome, and has more sweetness than this. This is very interesting. I'm enjoying this one quite a lot. So at the outset, it's like you're inhaling over the liquid as you're bringing it into your mouth, and that's picking up the smoke. Like there's a lot of smoke in here, or a substantial amount of smoke in here. And then as the liquid hits your tongue, you're kind of expecting it to be sweeter, but it's not. And instead you're getting this kind of dry, nutty maltiness that's very pleasant, and no alcohol burn, because 3.8%, you're not getting an alcohol burn at that level. And then the finish is this really nice kind of half bread, half nutty character. Yeah, that's good stuff. This is really good stuff. It's not like it's weird out in left field. It is unique in the style in America, in my experience. The 3.8% means you can drink quite a few of them. The price tag means you probably shouldn't. But you know, that's just the beer market these days, especially the high quality craft beer market. I don't recall exactly what I paid for this, but I'd imagine you're finding it for between $4 and $6 a can, depending on where you buy it from. And being that it's a pretty local microbrewery, you might have trouble finding it outside of the immediate Pacific Northwest. Yeah, so this is the Flood is our London-style brown porter brewed with English Maris Otter malt, flaked rye, a decadent blend of caramel and chocolate malts, and a touch of beechwood smoked malt. Okay, so definitely, yeah, smokiness, okay. Hopped exclusively with East Kent Golding and fermented cool with our house pub ale yeast, spunded for the natural carbonation. Yeah, this is a really good beer. I'm going to give this 4 stars. Why? Because it is unique in its style, and it's one that if you enjoy porters, you should try to find and try. You should find and try. It's unique, it's tasty, it's a well-made beer that is a good representation of its style and stands unique, not outside the style, but as a particularly well-crafted thing of the style, beer of the style, member of that style, representation of the style, that thing. Yeah, 4 stars for The Flood, the London-style brown porter by Bizarre Brewing. Anyways, I'm Matthew, and this is a really good beer. I'll catch y'all on the flip side.